Spontaneous English speaking. The secret to spontaneous English speaking lies in all the 6 solutions that I've told you today. The 6 interconnected solutions are going to make you fluent and spontaneous. When somebody randomly speaks to you in English, you should be able to speak with equal fluency, and that is what we'll focus on. Hello everybody. How are you all? Hope you're doing great. So, welcome back to another session of learning English and improving your English speaking skills with me. Today is going to be an awesome lesson where I'm going to take on a problem of yours during English speaking that is common. I recently received a comment and a lot of people agreed that they are facing this problem. This is the problem of speaking English spontaneously, not being able to speak English spontaneously or randomly when a situation arises where you're required to speak in English. It's like you don't know what to say. You are fluent in English when there are situations where you are speaking pre-prepared sentences or the content is already prepared. For example, you might be giving a presentation or something like that. That is okay. But randomly, when you have to speak in a particular situation with somebody at that time, you face this problem with speaking spontaneously in English. How do you bring that spontaneity? Today, I'm going to address this particular issue. I received a comment and we got more than 10 replies with so many people agreeing that this is a problem faced by a lot of people. Today, I'll provide the complete solution to this problem. So, are you all ready for this? I'm Ariel. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel so that you can get all the lessons. Please like the video and share it with your friends, too. Now, coming back to today's lesson, the secrets to speaking English with spontaneity. How do we bring spontaneity while speaking English? Spontaneously speaking English is a skill that we need to develop. What is spontaneous speaking? What happens when you're speaking spontaneously? For example, I am speaking right now, and this is a form of spontaneous speaking. I am not preparing any sentences in my mind. I'm not thinking about the stuff that I want to say or what I need to say next. In terms of language and speaking, I'm not preparing anything in my mind. It's coming from within, continuously. When you do not have to take a pause to think about something or to collect your thoughts, that is known as spontaneity. I'm not saying that you don't have to pause at all. We will come to that and discuss it in the solutions. The thing is that you're not taking a long pause that causes a delay in your thinking process and your speaking process. The gap is not there. When you're not spontaneous, there is a gap between these 2 processes, thinking and then speaking. The other person is able to judge that something is going on, and you yourself are too conscious about what you want to speak. That is the lack of spontaneity. When this random situation arises, you have to prepare and think about what you're going to say. For example, if somebody asks, "What are your plans for this weekend?" and you have to think about it for a few seconds, you become very conscious about what to say in English. In this random situation, if you find yourself tongue-tied, an idiom meaning you don't know what to say, it's like you're in a zone where you're completely frozen and not able to think of what to say or how to start the sentence. That initiation point is missing, and it causes a lack of spontaneity, which is a complete hindrance to your fluency. So, it's very important to bring spontaneity into speaking if you want to speak English fluently. It's part of fluent English speaking. For that, I have 6 solutions for you, and we are going to discuss each one. This is a complete action plan for what you need to do in order to speak spontaneously in English. When you speak, you should speak spontaneously, without spending too much time jotting down your thoughts, translating, or thinking about grammar structure. You don't search for words. It comes from within, without any time lapse. You speak continuously, with a flow. without second-guessing yourself. That is the spontaneity we want to achieve. I have the solutions. So let's begin with the 6 solutions. Solution number 1. Something that is very important is training your subconscious mind. Training our subconscious mind is key. This is the first solution, the foundation of spontaneous speaking. The subconscious mind plays a big role. It stores a lot of information and processes it for us. Our subconscious mind is habitual with our native language. Now, we need to make it habitual with the English language, so that when we need to speak in English, we don't feel uncomfortable, panic, or react with fear. It's the subconscious mind that is handling the thinking process. Whatever information you're taking in and whatever you're saying, it's being processed in the subconscious mind. For example, right now, whatever I'm saying is going into your subconscious mind, and it's resonating there. That means there is a voice in your subconscious mind, which is repeating everything that I've said right now. It is getting stored there, and somehow, it's going to stay there for a long time. If you do not come to it again, if you don't pay attention to what I'm saying, then you might lose it. If you don't apply the solutions, then you might lose it. But right now, whatever I'm telling you, it's going to be there. So that is what we have to do. We have to make our subconscious mind habitual of English. We have to train our mind in the same way it's trained to be comfortable with your native language. You have to do that. You have to train your subconscious mind. There are a lot of ways to do that. Number 1 is through listening. When you listen, you store information in your subconscious mind. It's like you're creating an inner environment of the English language. There is an external environment where you keep books. Do this, do that, to create an external environment of English. Right now, what you have to do is create an internal environment of English so that your subconscious mind is trained enough to accept the English language and be prepared to come up with any answer, any sentences, the thoughts, or words whenever it's time for you to speak in English. For that, you have to listen to a lot of English content. You have to listen to good English, good models of English. Please pay attention to this. Whatever you're listening to should be a really good source of English, accurate English, and fluent English. So always select a source that is accurate and fluent. Then listen to a good source of English. It can be anything related to your interests, education, entertainment, lifestyle, health, whatever you want. You need to listen to something in English. YouTube is the biggest platform that provides so much content in English. I recommend movies, YouTube channels, songs, and lots of listening resources. Watching good English content is also important. As you know, you're creating an internal English environment for yourself. You're giving context to your subconscious mind by watching things in English because your senses, your visualization, vision, and hearing, auditory senses, are involved in the process of taking in the information. Input is key and taking in good English content is crucial. This is how you are going to train your subconscious mind to become comfortable with English. Now let's move on to solution number 2. Solution number 2 is extremely important, bringing clarity to your thoughts. Whatever we are speaking comes from our thought process. We are thinking in a particular language, right? Our thoughts are what we channel through speaking. So it's all about our thoughts and how clear they are in a particular language. Whatever we are thinking, is it clear enough? Bringing clarity to that thought process is important. If you are unsure, if you have doubts, or if you're not clear about what you want to say, that is going to become a hindrance to your spontaneity. You need to be sure about your choice of words. Whatever you want to say, bringing clarity into your thought process is crucial. For example, if you get confused between two words or grammar structures, That confusion hinders your clarity. You're not clear with your thoughts because what you want to say gets lost. With that first sentence or thought that comes to your mind, you're so confused, wondering, should I use this word? Should I say that? You worry about whether you're going to say it correctly. And whatever you wanted to say next, it's nowhere in your mind now because you're too confused. That is a loss of clarity. You're experiencing a loss of clarity. You need to bring clarity to your thoughts. How do you do that? How do you bring clarity to your thoughts? Because again, whatever you're saying and thinking happens so fast. It's happening in milliseconds. You cannot even measure how quickly it's happening. You're thinking something, and you're just speaking. You don't even realize what you're thinking if you're comfortable enough in a language. This is what happens in your native language. Right? Why are you so spontaneous? Because you do not have to search for everything. No. You don't think about it too much. It's just there. You know what to say. If someone asks, "How are you?" in your native language, you know exactly what to say. If someone cracks a joke, you know exactly how to respond. But in English, you experience a setback. You're not spontaneous enough. You've spoken something, but then there's a lag because you're searching for more thoughts. And then you're speaking. That lag is something we have to reduce. And for that, we need to bring clarity to our thoughts. Again, this is an advanced step in training the subconscious mind. A very advanced step. How do you do that? I have a great technique. Subvocalization. For example, this is happening right now. Whatever I'm speaking, it's there in your mind, resonating. It's like whatever I'm saying, you're thinking about it and it's getting stored. That is part of subvocalization. Subvocalization is also a reading technique. When you're reading something, you can hear each word clearly in your mind. It's like you're reading out loud, but not in the real sense. In your mind. So, what do we do in read aloud? We pick up a book and read it out loud. But with subvocalization, you're reading a book and vocalizing it in your subconscious mind. You're training your subconscious mind. Now, can you see how all the steps are linked together? Step 1. Step 2. Everything we're doing is interconnected. All the solutions are interconnected in some way. So, that is why it's very important to take up all these solutions. They are going to give you the best possible results for this particular problem. When you subvocalize, you can listen to your own words in your own voice. Try it once and you'll be able to do it. Just pick up a book and start reading it and you'll be able to hear the words in your mind, in your brain. Doing it in a controlled manner, in a limited manner, can help you train your subconscious mind. When you do it repeatedly, you are feeding thoughts in your mind in English. Whatever you're reading, you're vocalizing it in English. That means the thought process that we're talking about, which should be in English to bring spontaneity, is happening now because you can hear each and every word in your mind. That is subvocalization. Speaking everything out loud as if you're actually speaking. You're hearing your voice in your mind as you read. For example, somebody is reading a book and there is a sentence, "She's standing on the balcony staring at the stars." You're maybe reading a poem or a novel and there's this particular sentence. You would read it silently, but in your mind you'll hear it as if you're speaking it out loud with the same intonation and everything. Like, "She's standing on the balcony staring at the stars." That kind of quality you will have. So, this is subvocalization, and if you do it, it will help you train your mind and bring clarity to your thoughts. Why? Because now you are reading lots and lots of sentence structures and those sentence structures are resonating in your mind. You're feeding those sentence structures, the words, the collocations, and the proper sentences into your subconscious mind. When the time comes, your subconscious mind will retrieve them because you vocalized them. Since you vocalized it in your mind is now trained to speak it. You'll gain confidence to speak the same word and you'll be able to do so. This is a technique to bring clarity to your thoughts and train your subconscious mind. Solution number 3. Solution number 3 is to think in English. Since we are talking about the mind, thoughts, the subconscious mind, and clarity of thoughts, obviously thinking in English is a very important step to speak English spontaneously. If you want to become spontaneous while speaking English, you need to think in English. Now, I've told you, thinking in English is being able to speak in English without thinking about your native language or translating. So, if your thoughts are in your native language, for example, if you're looking at something, but the adjective coming to your mind is in your native language, that is something we need to stop because that is a hindrance in the process of spontaneity. You should be able to think in English. That means, if you're looking at an object, you must describe it in English. You should be able to switch your thoughts from your native language to English. Whatever your native language is, whether it's French, Italian, Spanish, your thoughts must switch to English instantly because now you have to speak in English. This should not be something you do deliberately. It should be natural. Like, oh, okay, she's asking me something in English. I have to reply in English. That is the process of thinking in English. It means you're able to retrieve your thoughts, the words, and the information you know in English at the snap of your fingers. Just like that, within a second. You need to practice thinking in English. And with practice, you'll be able to bring spontaneity to your thought process. That will happen. But for that, you have to practice. I've already given you so many techniques and ample practice lessons on thinking in English. Now, you have those lessons, and you need to practice. This is something you'll develop as a skill. It's like a habit that you're developing. A habit that you have to give to your subconscious mind. That English must now be your habit. You have to tell your subconscious mind. And that is what we are doing by thinking in English. Whatever we are speaking, the thought process, everything should be in English. There should be no mix-up of two languages. No native, no English, no partition, nothing. If you're talking in your native language, then that's it. But if you're speaking in English, it should be all English. You should not search for words. You should not translate. The biggest problem we address in thinking in English is translating thoughts from native language to English. For example, if you have to give an answer and the thought is in your native language, you're well versed in that language and you know what to say. Now, you're trying to translate it, trying to find the same word or a similar word. This kind of process we need to eliminate if we want to bring spontaneity to our speaking process. That is why thinking in English is very important. Solution number 4. Solution number 4 is to focus on flow instead of flaw. Flow is the smoothness with which you speak. The flow of words. Flaw means mistakes. Your focus must be on the flow of words, not on the mistakes you might make. Proper sentence structure, whether or not you're speaking in the correct manner. See, if you're somewhere in the middle of your English learning journey, you're bound to make some mistakes. The important thing is, are you learning from those mistakes? If you're learning from your mistakes, that's totally fine. That's part of your learning process and you have to accept it. But if you're totally focused on the mistakes you're making, you'll never be able to focus on the flow of your words. Fluency is about the flow of words, the flow in which you're speaking. Right now, when I'm speaking, there is a flow to the words. As you can hear, the sentences, everything, they're coming out with a flow. That's the flow of words. Any fluent speaker will have a great flow of words. They speak with flow. What is fluency? It's the flow. just like water flows effortlessly. That is how you should speak English, with a particular flow. Flow means effortless speaking. If you have that particular flow, spontaneity will automatically come to you. If you're spontaneous, you are fluent. That means you have a particular flow of speaking. That is what I'm trying to say. You have to maintain the flow of speaking. Your flow should not break. That particular flow is what you need to focus on. If you're speaking, hold on to the thought instead of focusing on the mistakes, the grammar structure, or whether you're speaking correctly. This is something you do in the background, backstage. Right now, it's time for the performance. The curtains are drawn and you are on stage. You have to perform. Think of it this way. When somebody is performing, things are happening backstage. But the audience doesn't know what's happening backstage. They only see the performance. So, when you speak, that flow is your performance. The way you are speaking is that. Now, at the backstage, you would consider your grammar, your vocabulary, everything, all that you're doing. That's the part of your learning process. When you are trying to learn a grammar concept, at the time, you're trying to form structures in your mind related to a particular grammar structure and this, and that. A particular grammar concept. That's totally fine to think about that concept at that particular time. You're practicing. But this is the real time. This is the time of performance. Now, all the rehearsals have been done. This is the time you have to speak with the flow. So, please focus on the flow of the words, the way you are speaking. That's the key. Solution number 5. Well, the next solution on the list is to use small sentence structures. So, when you're speaking in English, try using small sentence structures. Do not use complex sentence structures or do not do something like you're speaking and you're not ending that particular sentence. This is a common problem when you are trying to translate things in your mind. You don't realize that you do not end that particular sentence. And you keep on speaking, and create a very long sentence with lots of thoughts and information jumbled up into one sentence. This happens. You would not realize it, but it happens to a lot of people. And that is something we have to eliminate. What you have to do is use small sentence structures. Pay attention to ending something. You've said something. End it. Small sentences will allow you to speak fluently and spontaneously because there is this short sentence. You've spoken it. Now you can begin with something else. You do not have to stretch it out and then think about what to add. What to do. This and that. No. A grammar structure is also easier to maintain with a small sentence. So that structure you're looking for. The I want to speak accurate English. What I'm doing should be accurate. If you want that, you need to use small sentence structures. That means do not use just 2-word, 3-word sentences. No. Use proper sentences. But again, like what I've said before, you have to end that sentence. You've given a particular piece of information. End that sentence and begin a new sentence for the next information. Do not keep on adding information after information using conjunctions like and. So, and, because this is what a lot of people do. I've seen that this will happen with you. It's okay. This is not your fault. This is happening because the subconscious mind is pushing you to just get out all the thoughts at a single time so that you do not switch to your native language. It's a coping mechanism. Okay. So, nothing is wrong. It's not your fault. What you have to do is manage that coping mechanism using small sentence structures. Do not use and a lot. For example, one sentence. And you are continuing. And you're continuing. So you're continuing. You're using so. And. But. all these common conjunctions a lot, and then continuing what you were saying. Don't do this. This will create confusion in your mind about what to say next and what to do. Use small sentence structures. It'll keep your thoughts clear. That was solution number 2. Right. Clarity of thought. This will help you maintain clarity too. Remember, I told you, all the solutions are interconnected. So, yes. Solution number 5. Use small sentences. Solution number 6. The last solution for today is, again, very important. And that is to take meaningful pauses. Take meaningful pauses whenever you're speaking. Taking pauses in between is important. Now, I'm not talking about a very long pause where you're thinking about something, trying to think about your thoughts, preparing all the sentences. No, just a millisecond of a pause in between. You cannot just speak and speak and speak continuously. A lot of times this happens when you are kind of nervous to speak or anxious to speak everything in English. You're anxious not to translate. When these things are happening, you would not realize you're speaking continuously, like in a single breath, trying to say everything. This happens, again, as a kind of coping mechanism, so that you do not go back to your native language, or do not translate, or because you want to get everything out in English. You want to speak in English as much as possible. And all these thoughts are making you anxious. As a coping mechanism, what you end up doing is trying to speak everything in a single breath, like you're speaking, and not taking any kind of pause in between. Now, these pauses are of a very short time period, less than a second. For example, as I am speaking right now, as you listen to me, you would realize that I'm also taking many pauses, kind of millisecond pauses in between. That is what you're supposed to do. Take those pauses to bring spontaneity, because this is going to give a pause to your thought process. If you're trying to think about your native language, if you're resorting to your native language, these pauses will do the work of resetting your thought process in English. These pauses will also let you think about other things that you want to say. These pauses let your audience take in all the information you're saying. For example, you are talking to a friend who's standing in front of you. Right. You are talking to that person. You spoke something. You spoke a sentence. Now, this is the information that your friend needs to take in. His or her mind needs to also absorb that particular information. And that millisecond of pause allows you to let that message go to your friend. Then that person, whoever it is, can also understand you better. You automatically sound fluent. This brings fluency and that spontaneity you're looking for, because that particular pause gives you confidence. It gives you clarity of thought. It also stabilizes your thinking process. All these anxious thoughts that are coming to your mind, they would stop. You can use these pauses in a very positive manner. So, the pause looks really nice. It sounds really great when you take those millisecond pauses in between. Right. Take a meaningful pause. A meaningful pause is this. The small pause. The millisecond pause that you take. That is the meaningful pause because it adds meaning to what you're saying. You want to end the information right there? You're putting a full stop. That is also included when you speak. If there's a full stop, you need to take a pause there. You're ending a statement. You're ending a sentence. How would the other person know that's the breakage point? How would the mind know that's the breakage point? Now, from this point, new information is going to get started. Either you're going to speak or your audience is going to listen to new information. That's the indication. This pause is very important. So, take a mini pause. This will bring clarity of thought. Plus, it will help you become spontaneous while speaking English. So, these are all the 6 solutions for you to become spontaneous while speaking English. That was the lesson for today. How to speak spontaneously. Spontaneous English speaking. The secret to spontaneous English speaking lies in all the 6 solutions that I've told you today. The 6 interconnected solutions that are going to make you fluent and spontaneous while speaking English. Because spontaneity is important. When somebody randomly speaks to you in English, you should be able to speak with equal fluency. And that is what we want to achieve. Right? These solutions will make you fluent and spontaneous. You'll be able to speak English in any random situation. So, are you all ready? Yes. Then take up all the 6 solutions. Take them up. Do it. Do all the tasks. And become spontaneous while speaking English. Do let me know in the comment box below that you are going to take up this particular task. All the tasks. Everything. The solution that I've told you today. You are going to follow. Follow the solutions and you are going to become spontaneous in English speaking. Also, do let me know about your English speaking practice. How it's going on. Also, share this particular video with your friends. Like it. Share it. Keep watching and keep practicing. That was the lesson for today. Now I'm going to meet you again with a new lesson. Till then, everybody, take care. Bye.